The world is a very, very weird place. Welcome back to the channel. We spend our lives thinking we know what a bird looks like, or a fish, or a mammal. We expect fur, feathers, or scales, and we expect them to make sense. But Mother Nature, it turns out, has a deeply odd sense of humor. For every perfectly reasonable golden retriever or common house sparrow, there is something else lurking in the shadows, something that looks less like a creature and more like an elaborate, poorly rendered Photoshop composite. Today, we are diving into the abyss, climbing the mountains and scraping the bottom of the evolutionary barrel to find the creatures that defy all sense of biological normalcy. Get ready for the list of strange animals that actually walk the earth. Let's begin. 1. The Axolotl. We start with the eternal infant of the list, the axolotl. This small amphibian hails solely from a few lakes near Mexico City, and its party trick is known as neoteny. In plain English, the axolotl is the Peter Pan of the animal kingdom. Unlike most salamanders, it never grows up. It retains its juvenile features, those adorable feathery gills protruding from its head, for its entire life, completely skipping the terrestrial stage. If that wasn't strange enough, the axolotl is also the closest thing we have to a living superhero. If it loses a limb, or even a section of its brain or spinal cord, it effortlessly regenerates it, good as new, without scarring. It seems evolution decided that in one corner of Mexico, the best survival strategy was to be permanently cute and functionally immortal. 2. The Leafy Sea Dragon. Speaking of strange aquatic life, next up we have a creature that decided camouflage wasn't enough. It needed flair. Meet the Leafy Sea Dragon, the most flamboyant animal in the Australian Ocean. It looks less like a fish and more like a piece of finely minced seaweed that decided to go for a casual swim. Covered in these intricate, leaf-like appendages, it drifts through the kelp forest like a misplaced botanical garden. But here is where the story gets truly weird. Unlike most fish where the female gets the glory, with sea dragons, it's the male doing the heavy lifting. The female deposits her eggs onto the male's tail, and he carries them, sometimes up to 300, until they hatch. It's an evolutionary arrangement where high fashion meets high fidelity. 3. The Dumbo Octopus. We're heading deep now, miles below the surface, into the true darkness. And down here, the rules of reality barely apply. This is where you find the Dumbo Octopus, officially known as Grimpoteuthis. It earns its nickname from the unmistakable pair of fins that flap above its eyes, making it look exactly like the famous Disney elephant. It's the deepest dwelling octopus species currently known, and it doesn't swim so much as float through the midnight zone. It uses those little ear flaps to propel itself gently over the abyssal plain, while its webbed arms sweep food into its mouth. It proves that even in the utter blackness, evolution prioritized cuteness. It's the only creature on this list that looks like it should be starring in an animated Pixar short about existential dread. 4. The Narwhal. If the ocean had a medieval fantasy section, the narwhal would be its mascot. Often called the unicorn of the sea, this Arctic whale sports a single, massive spiral tusk that can grow up to 10 feet long. This isn't a horn, it is technically an exaggerated canine tooth that erupts through the whale's upper lip. For centuries, people debated its purpose. Is it a weapon? Is it for breaking ice? It turns out that magnificent instrument is actually a highly sophisticated sensory organ. Millions of nerve endings pierce the tooth, allowing the narwhal to detect changes in water temperature, salinity, and pressure, essential for hunting in the shifting, freezing waters of the far north. It's a living testament to the fact that sometimes the strangest features are also the most sensitive. 5. The Shoebill Stork. All right, time to breach the surface and look skyward, or at least swampward. The Shoebill Stork is the avian equivalent of an old-school dinosaur that wandered out of the Cretaceous period and decided to take up fishing. Standing 4 feet tall, this bird's most striking feature is its massive clog-shaped bill, which looks like two wooden shoes welded together. Its eyes are set in front of its head, giving it a near-human, frankly unsettling stare. Shoebills are patient hunters, sometimes standing motionless for hours in the muddy swamps of East Africa. When they strike, they do so with violent precision, capable of swallowing lungfish, eels, and occasionally even baby crocodiles, a detail that gives the shoebill a seriousness far beyond its goofy appearance. 6. The Eye. If you casting a creature for a nocturnal horror film, you would hire the Eye, period. Found in Madagascar, this specialized lemur has huge yellow eyes, perpetually surprised ears, rodent-like teeth, and fur that looks like static electricity gone wild. Locals often fear it as an omen of ill luck, and honestly, looking at it, you can see why. But the real oddity is the middle finger. The Eye has an extremely long, thin, skeletal middle finger that it uses for percussive foraging. It taps rapidly on dead wood, listening for the hollow echo that signals a grub burrow. Once located, it uses those powerful teeth to rip open the wood and that long, bony digit to spear the meal. It's a bizarre combination of a woodworking tool and a highly specialized sensory apparatus, all wrapped up in a creature that looks like it knows your deepest, darkest secrets. 7. The pangolin. Our final terrestrial entry is the pangolin, a shy, scaly mammal that looks like a walking artichoke crossed with an anteater. Pangolins are the only mammals covered entirely in scales, which are made of keratin, the same material we have in our fingernails. When threatened, they roll up into an impenetrable armor plate, making them useless to conventional predators. Unfortunately, this defense mechanism does very little against humans. The pangolin holds the tragic title of being the most trafficked mammal in the world, hunted relentlessly for its meat and purported medicinal properties. It's a creature of unbelievable biological quirkiness, a walking, armored pine cone, and one that desperately needs our attention and protection. 8. The blobfish. We finish our list with the undisputed champion of anatomical absurdity, the blobfish. This deep-sea resident holds legendary status on the internet, usually depicted as a pink, gelatinous mass of grumpy disappointment. But this is the crucial, actual fact. The blobfish does not look like that in its natural environment. It lives in the crushing pressure of the deep sea off the coasts of Australia and New Zealand. Its body is specifically adapted to this environment, lacking muscle and supported by dense, jelly-like flesh. This allows it to float above the seafloor without expending energy. When it's brought to the surface, the rapid pressure change causes its structure to collapse, turning it into the famous saggy pink mess. The blobfish is weird, yes, but its true weirdness is its perfect adaptation to the most inhospitable place on Earth. It just can't handle a photo shoot. And there you have it. 8 absolute proof points that evolution sometimes just throws caution to the wind and goes for the spectacle. From the regenerating axolotl to the armored pangolin, these animals remind us that just when you think you have seen it all, nature pulls out a massive surprise. It's a strange world, but it would be so much duller without the weirdos. If you enjoyed this trip through the zoological oddities, make sure you hit that like button. Let us know in the comments which of these strange creatures you found the most unbelievable. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to ListOf for more lists of everything you never knew you needed to know. We'll see you next time.